What in the world is title insurance? Coming up. Hi, this is Kai with the Kai Wong team, helping you better understand everything you need to know about New York City real estate. Today I have the pleasure of introducing you to Dorian Lam. Dorian, how are you doing today?
I'm well.
Thank you for being here.
I look forward to this. Thank you for having me.
Can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Sure. I'm the Executive Vice President and Principal of Cornerstone Land Abstract, a title insurance agency.
Tell us a little bit about what your company does.
We are a full-service title insurance company that provides everything from closing services, title insurance, escrow, and advisory for real estate transactions.
Perfect, for both residential and commercial.
Correct.
Great. So, what in the world is title insurance? A lot of buyers, they really have no idea. The only time they ever hear about it is at the closing table. And they just see, wow, there's a payment here. They really have no idea what it's for. So can you share with us what are the components of title insurance? What is it? What does it cost, and how does it help the buyer, essentially?
Absolutely. It's interesting, right? Because title insurance is and has been around for over 100 years and is part of every real estate transaction. So it's an interesting dynamic that no one knows much about it.
Yes.
What title insurance is insurance that there are no defects with regards to title in the instance of a transaction or a transfer of property from a seller to a buyer. So what we're there to do or provide insurance for is to make sure that the seller is transferring the property to you as the buyer, free and clear of any sort of liens or any sort of liabilities that the seller should be taking care of before transferring it to you.
For the viewers that don't know, what are liens?
A lien is a liability that is put onto the property that must be cleared before any instance of a sale or a refinance. It can be anything from a owner not paying their property tax or their water bills. The city will come and put a lien on the property.
Okay.
Or it can be a contractor that you were for some reason in dispute over with regards to fees. If the contractor feels that he has not been paid, he can put a lien on your property.
What's the cost involved for title insurance?
So title insurance is a stated filed rate.
Okay.
So what it usually amounts to is anywhere between 0.3% or 0.5% of the transaction itself.
Okay.
Another way of looking at it is for every $1 million, it's gonna range between $3,000 and $5,000 for the title insurance coverage. Now it's important to know though that that coverage lasts for as long as you own the property or until you refinance the property.
Perfect. So in a way, it's just kind of a blanket protection of the buyer buying the property, just to make sure that they have a peace of mind, not worrying that there's any issues with the property.
Yeah, I always like to give this example. Imagine you move into the property you just bought and finding out that the previous owner did not pay any of his property tax, or that there was a contractor that put a lien on the property. You are now responsible for that. That's the reason why you get title insurance, to ensure that that doesn't happen. And if it does, you have coverage.
So another question that I get asked is, do I really need title insurance? Is it required? So what's the verdict on that?
So title insurance is highly recommended. It is not legally required, but is highly recommended. And honestly, I have not seen a real estate transaction take place without it.
Me neither.
What's also interesting to know is that if there is a lender involved, part of their compliance and part of their underwriting will absolutely always ensure that there's title insurance. So if there's ever a lender involved, you need title insurance.
Well, even when you do like a cash deal where they're coming in and there's no lender involved, most attorneys that I work with, and myself included, we will always recommend them to get it anyway, just so they have that peace of mind, right? You don't want them to buy it 5 years down the line and realize there's an issue, or and end up costing them a lot of money.
Absolutely. It makes sense as to why I have not ever seen a real estate transaction take place without title insurance. A lot of that has to do with attorneys advising their clients that even in an instance where it's all cash, that they should be purchasing title insurance for the peace of mind, but more importantly, so that they go through the process of ensuring that the current owner of a property or the seller has paid their bills and that does not have any personal liabilities or liabilities that are attached to the property.
And then also another question that we get asked is title insurance. What are you looking at? Are you just looking at the property, or are you looking at any other people involved in the transaction?
Yeah, so title insurance will do a search on obviously the property itself.
Of course.
But we will also do a search on the buyers and on the sellers to ensure that there are no liens or liabilities that they own. So even something as simple as a parking violation will arise.
So who ends up picking the title insurance?
That's a good question. So the buyer or borrower pays for title insurance. So generally, they have the ability to direct who they want to use for title. However, a lot of the times, because the attorney works hand in hand with the title company, the attorney will advise on who the proper title company is to use. Know who your title company is. You should understand their track record, how long they've been in business, how much transactional business they've done, and feel comfortable with them, because at the end of the day, they are closing your deal and providing the insurance.
That's a step that I realize a lot of first-time buyers, they don't really take, because they just go, okay, I'm just going to go through the transaction and use whoever. But it's important to find out if the title company has been doing their job, how long they've been doing it, and if they have been taking care of the clients.
Right.
Really.
And attorneys will work hand in hand with title companies, so they have a really good idea of who to use. What we always recommend is at least knowing who they're using and why.
So thank you for sharing that information, Dorian. So let's recap for the audience. What are the components about title insurance again?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, title insurance is insurance to ensure that whoever's buying the property is buying it free and clear of any liens, encumbrances, or any liability that the seller should technically be taking care of. We're there to ensure that that's happening. And if for some reason or another something is not revealed and you find out later on, you can use the title policy to cover it.
Perfect.
Additionally, who pays for it? The buyer pays for it because it's insurance that they're receiving.
Of course.
Also, how much does it cost, right? So typically for every $1 million, it's between $3,000 and $5,000 for insurance coverage. And what you should care about in a title company is that they've done a lot of transactions, or that they've been in business and have a proven track record. Additionally, understand their team. Take a look and make sure that they're an existing company, because at the end of the day, if you do need to invoke your insurance policy, you need to make sure that the title company is there to pay for it.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. We really appreciate it. And as the viewer, what Dorian put together for us is a checklist for closings in terms of what to look for, what to expect, and what to watch out for. So if you're interested in that, feel free to download it in the link below. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. On this channel, we share with you buying, selling tips, neighborhood guides, and market updates. So feel free to come back, check out the other content. If there's any questions that you want us to answer in a future video, please let us know. Until next time, see you soon. Bye.